It's 3:15, and that means it's time for...
The Real Deal with Bill McNeil.
That's right. Welcome once again to The Real Deal with Bill McNeil. I'm your host, Bill McNeil, and you're probably wondering exactly what is The Real Deal today.
Hey, good question.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and it's time for some comic industry news. Talking about DC Comics today. Got a big announcement of their next Black Label series in the Prestige Plus format. Going to be writer Tim Seeley and artist, oh my goodness, Mirka Andolfo. I almost lost it there for a second. And that is not the only Tim Seeley news. He's also going to be writing one of the DC Comics Free Comic Book Day selections this year. Somehow, even though Free Comic Book Day, I think, belongs to Diamond, the DC Comics are participating, even though they're with Lunar and no longer associated with Diamond. So they've got 4 comics coming out. We're going to talk about those. But the big one is this announcement of Superman versus Lobo. Man, 2 characters that hadn't got a lot of love lately, and it feels like DC is putting a bit more spotlight on Superman, certainly deservedly so, and as well as Lobo. Hadn't really seen him a lot other than, I think there's a one-shot Teen Titans where they were basically discovering the parentage of Crush, and Lobo showed up for a little two-issue story arc. It was actually a lot of fun. So it's the main man versus the son of Krypton. So this should be fun. Tim Seeley is not my favorite creator. He's pretty hit or miss for me. I've never not read a comic book that I normally would be interested in. I was like, oh, there's an Exo Man of War by Tim Seeley. I'm going to read it. Perfect. Hawkman by Tim Seeley. I'll go check it out. But I've never went out there and read something I wouldn't be interested in at all by Tim Seeley. Either. Like when I saw Money Shot, even though I like Vault Comics, not really my cup of tea. Wasn't all that interested. So, Tim Seeley is one of those creators. He's solid enough. He's got enough hits that I'll definitely check out his work when it's in my wheelhouse. Like his Batman TMNT stuff was really good. That Injustice Masters of the Universe crossover was also a lot of fun. He also wrote some pretty decent Nightwing stuff, and I think I remember him on Green Lanterns, liking a few of his stories there. So he's not going to be the only writer. He's going to be joined by Sarah Beattie, who I believe is his co-writer with Money Shot that I just mentioned before. And they are going to be writing this story. Mirka Andolfo, who certainly seems to be getting more DC works, although she still has, I think it's called Deep Beyond. She's certainly still doing some independent titles. She's a very terrific artist. We noticed that she was on Punchline. She did that initial Punchline one-shot, and then she was illustrating the backup Punchline story in Joker. And then they replaced her. I was like, well, maybe she's going back to the indies. She's got a lot of work. Apparently, she's coming over for this big DC Prestige Plus book. Of course, that means it's going to be a much bigger size. It's also going to be 3 issues and $7. So kind of in the original format that we expected DC Black Label to be in. That's what they announced it as. That's what we're going to be getting here. So get some different bags and boards because it's not going to fit into your typical comic book supplies and whatever. It's not going to fit into your long box. Let's put it that way. You're going to have to get something special to fit these. I like the idea of Superman versus Lobo. It sounds fun enough. Lobo's a crazy character, the last son of Czarnia. You got Superman, one of my favorite heroes in the history of comic books. Should be fun up. There's some stuff though in this solicitation that has me a little bit worried. Like one of the story elements that they give away in the solicitation does not have me excited. It falls into potentially falls in. I don't know if they're going to deliver here. Potentially falls into some of the very worst tropes that we're seeing in modern comic books, notably from whenever I hear stuff like this, Brian Michael Bendis jumps in mind just from all the intros he was doing for Superman and Action Comics. A lot of times it was delivered via computer screens and in social media. I've talked about it before that the social media as a means of exposition trope is really played out. Social media in just, I don't know, you hear about the dark web. That's what it is. The dark web seems to be playing a part in a lot of modern comic stories. I don't think it's ever really done all that well. Although, actually, the very first story arc for Brian Edward Hill's, was that Angel? Had like a haunted app kind of thing to it. It was actually really good. But it doesn't work out all that often. Let's get into the actual solicitation. You can know what I'm talking about. I'm just talking around it. Let's get to it. Numen, I believe this is a brand new character, is the most popular being in the universe, a god clogging all social channels, and he does not take kindly to the attention going to Superman and Lobo. Further complicating things is Dr. Flik, a scientist determined to study the last sons of Krypton and Czarnia, respectively. What can she glean from the hero whose home planet was destroyed when he was just a baby, and the bad boy who made it all go away just for the heck of it? So there's going to be a god that's like the god of social media named Numen. If this is some type of satire, it could certainly work. But just having a god responsible and wanting to be the most popular entity on social media is pretty lame. That kind of motive or driving force for a villain is not very compelling. Now I can see like, well, people are on social media, you're always looking for clicks and everything, and it certainly fits into some mythos of some gods in certain cultures. But going this far and this on the nose with social media, I'm 90-10 that it's going to be terrible. But there's always that 10% chance that he actually pulls it off and does something good. We shall see what Tim Seeley and Sarah Beattie are supposed, what they can do with it. Good to see that we're finally getting some more of these DC Prestige Plus format books, as DC Black Label was intended to be to begin with. It's kind of disappointing that they've fallen off. It's essentially just Vertigo now. I'm actually going to have a video while I'm in the hospital having the baby up here in a few weeks, where we're going to kind of talk about Black Label and some of its successes and failings, and we'll definitely be talking about the Prestige Plus format. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is Tim Seeley and are Tim Seeley and Sarah Beattie the right creative partners as far as writers for a book like this? Lobo versus Superman with the god of social media hanging in the balance. Well, maybe not hanging in the balance, but you get what I'm saying. It could be great. Could be average, could be bad. You never know. The art's going to be good. How's that? Mirka Andolfo, I think, will knock this one out of the park. She's a terrific artist. Let's stop talking about this. Let's move into this free comic book day information that we have. I'm a little confused about this. I knew that Lunar and DC said that they were going to participate in Free Comic Book Day, but I assumed that they were going to call it something else and it would be their own independent program. But it sounds like they are part of Free Comic Book Day, which is owned by Diamond. Maybe Diamond is just being really friendly and thinking about the comic shops and the overall health of the industry by allowing them to participate in their promotion campaign. This is essentially what it is. Little known secret. It's not free. Your comic shop has to pay for the promotion. It's free to the customers, but the comic shops have to invest in it. So the first big one is going to be Batman Free Comic Book Day Special Edition. They're introducing the story arc that's going to be the big summer, well, not summer, but this big horror-themed event that's happening in the Batman family of books. Also is going to be like a preview of I Am Batman, where we're essentially getting Jace Fox introduced into the current timeline of Batman. Doesn't sound like it should work, just from we know it in future state what was introduced there. We shall see. This is what they had to say. The Batman creative team of James Tynion and Jorge Jimenez take their epic run to the next level. Gotham City is on the brink of the violent evolutionary path as the danger level to Batman and his allies reach a fever pitch. The Magistrate now has full support from the mayor to handle high-level law enforcement in Gotham and branded the Dark Knight as public enemy number one. Plus, the Scarecrow has his own terrifying agenda as he launches his master plan in the chaos. This is the first look at the epic Fear State event that will run across Batman titles beginning this fall. I imagine that these are pages that will be in whatever the initial offering for Fear State is. However it's introduced, I think it's Fear State Alpha. I don't think this will be like exclusive content. I think it's not really a reprint because it hasn't been printed yet, but it is material that is already prepared. And I imagine the same thing for the next one. This is the second half of that book. The Dark Knight, Jace Fox, has arrived in the sneak peek of the upcoming I Am Batman series from writer John Ridley. With stunning art by Travel Foreman, fans will get a taste of this blockbuster storyline starring the newest Caped Crusader and this 32-page free comic book special edition. I imagine they're both 16 pages each. I think DC Comics are doing the right thing here. In the past, there would be like the kickoff to an event, or there would be exclusive content in the free comic book day. We saw what happened the last time they tried to do a free comic book day, and it threw off several events. They end up having to reprint the pages and other comics to get things rolling. So Fear State is not dependent on this book. This is a teaser. This is a taster menu, you know? And to get people in there, if they haven't been reading Batman, go check this out. The art is going to be stunning. If they're interested in the new Batman and in Jace Fox, I Am Batman's coming out around the same time. It's going to be tied into Fear State. So very smart move. I think this will do very well, and I imagine they'll get some customers putting this on their pool after they put it on there. The second book actually does have exclusive content, a story that's specifically for Free Comic Book Day. And this is the Suicide Squad Free Comic Book Day Special Edition. Just in time for the Suicide Squad movie, written and directed by James Gunn, releasing in theaters and HBO Max on August 6th, with this incredible special edition that features the world's deadliest villains. Discover more about the breakout character from Task Force X in an original Suicide Squad King Shark story written by New York Times bestselling author Tim Seeley and illustrated by award-winning artist Scott Collins. It's smart. You got the movie coming out. It sounds like Peacekeeper is going to be a very important role. John Cena is playing that. He's getting a spin-off television show as well. I imagine he'll play a big part in this. Also, I'm hearing very good things about King Shark within that movie, so hopefully people are excited about that. So this all makes sense. It's nice that they're releasing something that just isn't a preview or a reprinter of something. This is actually new exclusive content for Free Comic Book Day. Very smart, lines up with the movie. Included with that is something I'm far more interested in. This 32-page also includes a preview of the sensational Suicide Squad Get Joker. Sensational is an adjective here. It's not part of the actual title. Limited series by writer Brian Azzarello and artist Alex Maleev. An incarcerated and angry Red Hood receives a chance at freedom from Amanda Waller. All the former Boy Wonder needs to do is gain his freedom is lead the Suicide Squad on a mission to terminate the Joker. Paired up with Harley Quinn and the Gotham City killers such as Firefly and Killer Croc, he doesn't care if any of them come back alive as long as the Joker dies. This is must-read stuff. I don't need to read the story in Free Comic Book Day. In fact, I won't get to because I would end up having to pay like $5 to get it just to have it shipped to me. But if you are on the fence, I suggest you check this out. Alex Maleev has been hamstrung by Brian Michael Bendis' Event Leviathan crap. They're utilizing him in a story that probably deserves his attention. Brian Azzarello, I like a lot of his stuff. Sometimes it gets a little too off. I didn't love Batman Damned, but I do think this is right up his wheelhouse. This sounds like a fun story. I love Jason Todd. Definitely feels like he's getting more love from DC Comics as well. And as far as I'm concerned, Suicide Squad Get Joker, must-read stuff. I'm definitely going to be checking that out. Finally, there's going to be 2 extra Free Comic Book Day comics, and they're basically promotions for their YA graphic novel and also their kids line. So the first one's going to be Teen Titans Beast Boy Loves Raven Special Edition. That's from Cami Garcia. I think her Harley Joker Criminal Sanity Black Label book, which made no sense to begin with, and I kind of died a slow, painless death because no one knew it existed anymore. Is the writer for that. I've heard that book actually did very well in comparison to what most of DC Comics has put up for the YA graphic novel line. The second one includes flip books of 2 different titles, Batman and Robin and Howard, and Amethyst Princess of Gemworld. Their special edition flip books. This one I don't get. They're certainly marketed both for a younger crowd, but clearly Batman and Robin and Howard are for boys, and Amethyst Princess of Gemworld is a story and comic book geared towards girls. I don't know why they're putting them in the same book. They're literally two stories aimed at a similar demographic as far as age, but completely different demographics as far as the actual readers. I don't know why they're putting that in the same book. It'd probably be better to have Teen Titans Beast Boy Loves Raven and Amethyst in the same book, to be completely honest. But looking at the cover and what I expect the art to be, I would probably read Batman and Robin and Howard with my 5-year-old, soon to be 6-year-old. I think he would like it. It looks like it's right in his wheelhouse. He does like Robin from Teen Titans Go and stuff. So I don't know. hey, I guess if they can generate sales and interest in their YA graphic novel line and can, there have been some successes there, but there's been a lot of failure there as well. So I guess they need to generate some interest. Don't know that this is actually going to do it. That's the lineup of DC Comics Free Comic Book Day offerings, as well as we covered everything's Batman at DC Comics. Superman versus Lobo from Team Seeley, Mirka Andolfo. The things out of this that I'm most excited for are clearly is clear that Suicide Squad get Joker book. I think that's going to be absolute dynamite. But there's certainly potential in Superman versus Lobo. We shall see what happens with Fear State. I just don't like the Magistrate stuff. So that is a barrier for entry for me, because I was glad Future State was over, and I'm actually, it's working a little bit. It's working in Green Lantern. I don't mind it as much in Superman because we didn't really get to see very much other than the Jonathan Kent stuff, which is awful. But there's at least some potential there, like with the Hasselwell book. But I don't think that this Future State stuff is the winner the DC Comics thinks it is. That's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Are you excited for DC Comics Free Comic Book Day offerings? Which ones are you the most excited about? Am I completely wrong about this Batman and Robin and Howard and Amethyst being in the same book? Are boys going to be interested in both stories? Are girls going to be interested in both stories? And if they aren't, are they going to want to share them with each other? Or are they going to want that story for another audience in their book? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.